Breath of the Wild's final act, the Champions Ballad, Link's ancient allies get their chance to retake the spotlight. The result is less impactful to the overall story that we're already familiar with, but the accompanying quests and new gear do a lot of the heavy lifting, delivering over a dozen new stages to test your problem-solving skills in ever more interesting ways. They alone make a return trip to Hyrule worth getting excited about, but you must first prove yourself worthy of the opportunity. Upon returning to the Resurrection Chamber at the start, the cave where Link awoke from his 100-year slumber, you're given a weapon known as the One-Hit Obliterator. As the name implies, this short-range weapon allows you to kill an enemy in a single blow, but with your health consequently whittled down to a quarter heart, you're also more vulnerable than ever. You may have shrugged off an occasional bee sting before, but it's little incidents like these that now teach you to think twice about every move you make. Sadly, it's a great setup that ends too soon. After clearing out 4 small enemy camps and the shrines that emerge from their defeat, the weapon returns to the Resurrection Chamber, having fulfilled its duty. Even after completing everything the DLC has to offer, the weapon remains unusable, which feels like a missed opportunity. But with this stage of the journey now complete, you're sent off to the 4 corners of Hyrule on a glorified scavenger hunt. In a very pleasing way, the goals set for you take great advantage of Breath of the Wild's numerous mechanics. You will take on snowboarding challenges that task you to pass through rings in a limited amount of time, hunt Hyrule's elusive dragons, and re-engage the banana-loving Yiga clan, among other missions that test the breadth of your capabilities. And for each task you complete, a new shrine surfaces from underground. The Champions Shrines force you to engage in mindfulness and critical thought. They typically involve a lot of moving pieces, veering away from combat in favor of puzzle solving. So far removed from a life of shrine hunting in the main game, returning to these creatively built challenges takes you back to a time when Breath of the Wild was this new and mysterious thing, an experience filled with surprises. Upon completing the 3 shrines in a given set, you're able to tap into memories of the relevant champion. You don't get the opportunity to directly control Hyrule's famous defenders, but as Link, you reenact their battles against Ganon's 4 Blights, the same 4 bosses you fought at the end of the game's Divine Beast dungeons. The difference this time around is that you're limited to a small selection of gear based on what each champion would have carried into battle. Oddly, you retain access to the powers bestowed to you by the champion's spirits in the past, which gives you incredible advantages and somewhat negates what would otherwise be difficult battles. You can always turn these powers off if you choose, but given the context of exploring someone else's memories, it would have made more sense had they been disabled by default. Your immediate reward for beating each Blight is the ability to recharge champion abilities in less time, and new cutscenes for each champion. Each one shows a recollection of when they were recruited to join Zelda's anti-Ganon squad 100 years in the past. These vignettes are more playful than serious, which is a little disappointing considering the gravity of the calamity they're up against. But thankfully, there's a bigger and better reward waiting for you once you've resolved every champion's quest. A new Divine Beast dungeon, complete with a totally surprising boss fight. In a similar fashion to other Divine Beasts, the final station requires you to manipulate the entire structure, rotating major components this way and that, as you work to resolve 4 puzzles, locking away the final area. The scope of the final Divine Beast, like the ones before it, is delightfully difficult to wrap your head around, both for how big it is and how ornate its solutions are. The parting gift for your efforts is one of the unlikeliest additions to The Legend of Zelda, an ancient motorcycle. Loosely modeled to resemble a unicorn, Link's new bike fits thematically, if not logically, into Breath of the Wild's mythical tapestry. On one hand, having a bike at the ready overshadows your stable of horses, but on the other, tearing through Hyrule on a motorcycle is as ridiculously playful as it sounds. It even makes for a fun snowboard replacement on snowy hills, which helps escalate the sense of speed as you rocket down mountains and look for ramps to catch a bit of air. The only real disappointment, you can't summon the motorcycle in the desert, nor travel there if you're already on the go. Attempt the latter, and an invisible wall prevents you from proceeding, exactly the same as if you tried to enter on horseback. Who knows if Nintendo will continue to surprise us with fanciful new additions to Breath of the Wild down the road. But considering that Champions Ballad is likely the final word on this chapter in The Legend of Zelda, it's a bittersweet goodbye. There are so many wonderful quests and beautiful tiny moments that make revisiting Hyrule feel like reliving your own memories, when Breath of the Wild was truly new and surprising. Nintendo certainly could have extended some of the aspects within the Champions Ballad, such as giving you access to the Obliterator at any time, and letting you ride your new motorcycle over sandy dunes. But these are minor blemishes on an otherwise great trip down memory lane.